Okay, so like you mentioned, you were the third of 11 kids to Robert F. Kennedy. So you're growing up in this, very privileged, wealthy family. And when you were 6 years old, your uncle, John F. Kennedy, becomes the 35th president.
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, do solemnly swear
that you will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States
And will, to the best of your ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
I mean, you're pretty young, but do you remember the elation of your family that someone in your family suddenly president of the United States?
I remember everything about the campaign. I came out here for the convention. It was the first time I've stayed up all night. There's pictures of me at the convention here in Los Angeles. My dad took us to Northern California for 2 days, and I caught a snake up there, and I kept that snake in my pocket. So I had him at the convention. We had one of the boxes, and I was playing with him, and there's a lot of pictures of me doing that. But I remember we were staying at the Hearst's house at, William Randolph Hearst's house when we were out here. And I remember that. I remember the fountain outside. And I remember when my uncle got, I was in the hall when my uncle was nominated as the candidate. And I watched his speech, and, me and my siblings were running around the hall collecting buttons and that kind of stuff. But, we had been involved in the campaign, too. We were very, very much aware. My parents were always very good about including us in everything and telling us what they were doing and telling us about the importance in history. And, so that was just part of the milieu growing up.
Okay, so John F. Kennedy becomes president, and as soon as he becomes president, he appoints his younger brother, Bobby, as U.S. Attorney General, your dad.
Yes.
So as soon as your dad becomes Attorney General, he starts this war against organized crime.
Yeah. He had already started the war.
Before that.
Yeah, because my uncle had been on the rackets committee in the United States Senate. He had been in the Senate before he became president. And my father was chief counsel of the rackets committee. So my father had, his big issue, and it was unusual for Democrats at that time. It was like a daring move for Democrats because organized crime had infiltrated organized labor, and particularly the Teamsters Union, but some of the other unions. And if you were a Democrat and you had ambitions to run for president, you needed the unions. So, people would warn my father and my uncle, don't go after the unions because you need them to win.
Yeah.
And they did it anyway. But my father really felt that it was at that time, he felt like it was the gravest threat to American democracy because the Mafia had infiltrated all of these institutions that were key to our democracy, including the labor unions, but also the judiciary. They controlled a lot of judges. They owned a lot of Congress people. And he felt like it was a threat to democracy and ultimately the republic.